أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Inshallah, as you know, the topic has been changed from the previous topic that everyone is asking for, which a lot of people came for that topic today. But unfortunately, I have my own perspective on approaching this topic. I believe that if we want to talk about the objective of Sharia, if you really want to do it and you want to speak about it, it should be taught only to PhD students in Sharia. Other than that, no one should study Maqasid al-Sharia. If you want to read on it on your own, it's fine. But to study Maqasid al-Sharia, the objective of Sharia, and we are at level 1, 2, 3, 4 in knowledge, even if you're doing your bachelor degree in Islamic studies, this is a personal opinion, okay? I'm not holding anybody to it. I'm just saying. If you're doing your bachelor degree in Islamic studies in Sharia, I believe this subject should not be taught. Because this subject is like reading between the lines. So imagine, reading between the lines means what to you? It's just that I'm using the term right. We're on the same page. What does it mean to read between the lines?
Taking the implicit meaning.
Huh?
Taking the implicit meaning.
So you're reading between the lines is taking the implicit meaning?
Interpretation.
Huh? Interpretation, right? So you read, so you have a written statement. So you look at it, you read between the lines, okay? So now we are at the level where we're learning ABC, but we want to read between the lines. That's exactly the objective of Sharia, okay? So let's get to learn first the ABC part and words and how to mix words together, how to read the alphabet and so on, before we could go on and say, let's read between the lines. I know this means that, but I understand something else. Why is that? And Imam Shatibi rahimahullah ta'ala is the first person who came up with the subject, and he called it maqasid. He was the first person to say objectives of Sharia. Subhanallah, throughout the time of Imam Shatibi rahimahullah, he never had a clear definition in his books what objectives of Sharia means. Just the definition of the wording. So the scholars who came later on, they developed this knowledge and then they said it to us the way that we see it today. It's very complicated to look at things and say, I think there is a reason behind this, there is a wisdom behind this, or maybe we should do that because the objectives of Sharia says this, while we did not study the Sharia itself. There are two words to this, objectives and Sharia, correct? So you're adding two words together. In the Arabic, you have mudaf and mudaf ilayh, a word that is added to another word. If you add something, you need to check the second word that you added something to it. So if I ask today, just for what does Sharia mean? Anybody know? Not what Fox News says Sharia is, okay? What does Sharia mean? Then let's go into our topic of today. That's exactly what I was saying. There's nothing wrong to learn on your own, but forgive me, I won't go into that for so many reasons other than that. You know, I think you're, mashallah, college students, university students, you could search it on your own and look into it. But if you want my advice, run away from this subject as much as possible, okay? Because it will drop you into the depth of an ocean and you're not a good swimmer yet. So most likely a person will end up doing what? Drowning. That's my advice. If you want to take it, you go ahead. If you don't, then you find inshallah shaykh that teaches you objective of Sharia. We could talk about it inshallah other time as an introduction to what does it mean and what's the subject talking about. But as a subject, I told you what I believe. So forgive me for, it could be my lack of knowledge, it could be my level of knowledge, whatever you want to consider. But I have my strong argument on that part, which I hold inshallah, and I hope that you would benefit from it as I benefited myself from it inshallah. Easy topic of today, racism in Islam. That's better. That's the easier topic to speak about, okay? The reality is that this racism versus brotherhood, okay? We have a reality among Muslims and we need to face our reality. And one way to cure the sickness is to be able to figure the problem. If you want to bring a cure to a disease, then you have to understand what is the disease, what is the sickness like, so you could cure it. If you say, well, there's nothing wrong with him, he's fine, then he will live sick and then he'll die very soon. This is what's happening right now in the Muslim Ummah in general. In our communities, school community, Muslim community in general, the Muslim Ummah, which Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the Quran set clear foundations on this matter. What is it? Racism. Okay? We do have people who are racist. So what does racism mean? Just anybody? I came to ask today, mashallah. What does racism mean? When you first hear this word, what does it mean to you? Okay, other than that. Yeah.
Prejudice towards someone because of the race.
Okay. So it's only with the race. We could add race, language sometime. Huh? Level in society or in community, yes. Here you go. A person believing that they're superior or better than someone else, and this is actually the definition. The main reason for racism is you thinking, or a person thinking that he's better than somebody else. That's the main reason. Whether it's because of the race, language, ethnicity, tribalism, whatever you want to consider, just talk about it. It's all over. So when Quran came, this problem exists at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam heavily. Okay? Maybe like our time, but it was more on a public level. Our time now is hidden, okay? They tell you no racism, then you find racism in every action, every verbal statement, every behavior of some people. But then when Islam came, this was apparent to be the true common ground that everybody agreed that there is racism, and people said it. We are better than these people, okay? Within the same tribe, you have people who think they are more superior or better, or even in the sight of God, and this is the problem. That's why when we face this issue as an Islamic perspective, we should say, in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what matters most, not in the sight of people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set an ayah that we need to understand and study, which is Surah Al-Hujurat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha nas. He's calling now, an-nas means, the word nas means all of mankind. Okay? He didn't say, Ya ayyuha al-muslimun, or Ya ayyuha al-arab, or Ya ayyuha al-non-arab, or Ya ayyuha al-nas. Inna khalaqnakum. We created you. Min dhakarin wa untha, from male and female, Adam and Eve. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلًا. And we have divided you into tribes, okay, and nations. Why? لِتَعَارَفُوا. So you may get to know one another. Okay? To know one another. Imagine if we are all created same color, same look, same design, same format, it will be boring. Seriously. If we all looked alike, imagine you go to a dealership and you want to buy a car. And they tell you only have one brand, one color, 2015, whatever, I don't want to advertise for anybody. 2015, whatever car, white. What are you going to do? You end up buying it. Everybody will have the same car. But then the variety, not that this car might be better in some things, but the variety is there for لِتَعَارَفُوا. You may know one another. Now, إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ, that the most who are honored in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now who holds that level, أَتْقَاكُمْ, who are most pious. So the one who has more piety, more religion, is closer to Allah than the one who don't. Okay? The one who's better in the sight of Allah then the one who does ibadah, worship, and he's closer to his Lord, and he has there's another word that I was looking for. Okay, he has more. Let's stick to the word taqwa first, because the word taqwa itself has a meaning. Who's more pious? Okay, who's more pious, self-conscious about himself and about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but more pious in the sight of Allah. Now, not in the sight of you and me, because that's another problem. In the sight of Lord, if your Lord will solve a bigger problem that we might have, which is part of racism. That people look at one another and they tell you, if the verse says who's better, I think I am better because I am more religious. There you go. If you guys are saying religious, what matter is religion, then I'm more religious than him. So I'm better than him. Now we have a circle, we come back to point zero, which is racism again. It's part of it. Allah says, Inna akramakum indallah, the one who's most honored in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, superior in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, atqakum, who are most pious. Who scales that? Not you or me. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, we're judging one another on the base of what we see. We haven't checked everybody's hearts. We don't know. You have a person who came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam complaining because he saw a man, he was crossing by, he saw a man, so he gave him salam. This man said, Wallahi, I hate him for the sake of Allah. Okay? So a man, we have a lot of people who are like that today. They tell you, I hate you for the sake of Allah. Do you even know what that means? So he said, I hate him for the sake of Allah. So there were people who were sitting down, they didn't like that. It's kind of you're speaking behind his back, this backbiting. So I'm going to go and tell this man what you said. He said, go ahead. So he went to the man and he told him, he said, you see this man right there? He said, yeah. He said he hates you for the sake of Allah. The man said, that's weird. So he took him to the best judge, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Ya Rasulullah, ask this man why he hates me. What did I do? So he brought the man who said the statement. He said, did you say that you hate him for the sake of Allah? He said, yes. Part 1, admit. Okay, you have to ask first, did he say that? Part 2, he said, why? He said, Ya Rasulullah, he is my neighbor. I know him better than anybody else. And I only see him doing the 5 prayers that we do in the masjid. I don't see him doing any extra prayers other than these 5 prayers. So isn't that a form of hypocrisy? He's like the hypocrites, they do the prayers only. I don't see him doing 2 rak'ah before dhuhr, 2 rak'ah after dhuhr, 2 rak'ah before asr, 2 rak'ah before fajr, 2 before maghrib, 2 after maghrib. I don't see him doing anything except he comes to the masjid, he prays with us, then he leaves. So the man said to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Rasulullah, ask him now, have I ever delayed my prayers? He said, no. He said, ask him, have I done my prayers correctly with the pillars and the conditions, like I made wudu and then I stand with you? He said, yeah. He said, have I missed my prayers in jama'ah with Rasulullah? He said, no, I witnessed that. Then he said, then why you hate me for the sake of Allah? I'm doing my salah correctly. He said, oh, I have more. Ya Rasulullah, he only fasts the month of Ramadan, which everybody fasts the month of Ramadan. The hypocrites do that, Muslims do that, talking about their time. So he don't fast Monday, Thursday, 3 days of every month, Arafah. I don't see him doing that. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, ask him now. Now, same thing. Have I done my fasting correctly from Fajr to Maghrib? He said, yes. He said, have I nullified my fast in any way? He said, no. Have I done anything wrong during my fast? He said, no. Have I, like that. He kept asking. He said, no, no. He said, then why you hate me? He said, hold on, I have one more. He only gives the zakah that the hypocrites give, which is 2.5 of his money. He doesn't give sadaqah in the masjid. He doesn't help to build the masjid. He doesn't donate to the masjid. When people come asking for or begging for money, he doesn't give. So he only gives his zakah. The hypocrites do that. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, ask him again, have I given the correct amount? Yes. Correct timing after 1 year, every year? Yes. Giving it to the right people? Yes. Then he said, now what did Rasulullah say to him? To the man who accused his brother and he said, I hate him for the sake of Allah. He said, listen, you should leave here and know that this man might be better than you in the sight of Allah. Now, this man only did what? The basics, okay? He wasn't, mashallah, praying at night and doing Qur'at al-Qur'an and doing all of that. So when we judge people according to taqwa, piety, it's something that it's in the heart. Person could be more pious than you, not because of how he looks, because of his relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, you're all created from Adam and Eve, or you're all created from Adam, and Adam is created from sand or dust or soil of the ground, and you're all going back to the same thing where you were created from. So no one is better in the sight of Allah. The Arab are none better than the non-Arab. The white are not better than the black, or the red are not better than the white. They all are equal in the sight of Allah. The one who's closer to his Lord is the one with more piety. Combined ahadith together. So that's how the level. So does it exist? Yes, it does exist. Okay, it did exist, and it's still till today. Today, I've been traveling at least for the past 6 months all over the United States now, more every week. I have seen it now. It's very clear. We have masajid now built on race. Okay, now we have masajid built on race, same race but different tribes. Okay, so I was in a masjid. They are from a country, 2 masajid next to each other. They are from this tribe, same country, this speak same language, but this tribe don't like that tribe, so they ended up dividing 2 masajid for the sake of Allah. It's all it's all covered by the sake of Allah. I don't see where the sake of Allah coming in to play in the game. This is all racism. That has nothing to do with that. You have African American mosques that are for African Americans. You have mosques that are I could name you mosque by names. They name their mosque the mosque of so and so. So when you go in, you're kind of weird. Okay? You might be more religious, you might memorize the whole Quran, but sorry, when you come in, you're nobody. Okay? You stay in the back. Well, Islam came to dissolve this, to say it don't exist. He brought, and this was the main, by the way, this was one of the main problems that led so many of the non-Muslims at the time of the Prophet ﷺ not to accept Islam. The idea that we are all equal. They said, we can't accept that. That's, to us, that doesn't make sense. Ubay, he came and he said to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Muhammad, if I become Muslim, I will be equal to Bilal, my slave. Stop here for a second. Bilal is like a figure in this. Okay, we're going to use him so much now because of the idea of racism. Bilal is who? What do you know about Bilal? Not the movie. Please don't tell me about the... If you watch the movie, may Allah forgive you. Okay? If you did. Don't ask me why. It has nothing to do with Islam. I'm serious. Even though it's done at what they consider a Muslim country, but it has nothing to do with Islam. Anyway, leave that on the side. Side notes, off camera, okay? Okay, I want to go back and make Umrah and Hajj. Okay, who's Bilal? What do you know about Bilal? Few things, just... He was from where, first? Not African American. Can't be African American. Okay. If our time, he would be an African American, but it can't. So he's maybe an African Arab, or African Qurayshi. He was from Abyssinia, Al-Habasha, okay? An African slave, dark skin, okay? No one cared about him at all. That's Bilal in history. Now when Islam came, Bilal became a figure. So Ubay, his master, had a problem with that. He said, Ya Muhammad, I don't have a problem with your religion except that you're making me equal to my slave. That doesn't make sense. So the Prophet ﷺ said to him what? He said, yes, you will be equal. See, this is the part. There are some matters in Sharia that we do not let go no matter what. If somebody wants to be introduced to Islam, you don't tell me, oh, when he comes in, I'm not going to tell him there's no drinking, there's no, this is forbidden, salah 5 times a day. Just let him become Muslim first, and then we got him. Then we're going to tell him salah 5 times a day, morning prayers, fasting every month of Ramadan, Hajj. No, you don't do that. You introduce the religion as a religion. You tell him this is what we have, if they like it. Rasulullah could have told Ubay what? Yeah, Bilal will be praying on one side and you'll be praying on another side. We'll find you another masjid or we'll build you one masjid. He didn't say that. He said, yes, you'll be equal. Because if you don't accept that, this is like a foundation. This is the concept of Islam that came to say, yes, you're equal in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Forget your level right now in dunya, is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at you. So now Bilal became Muslim radiallahu anhu arda. Now there's a beautiful hadith about Bilal that we need to discuss. Again, not Bilal the movie, because Bilal the movie is talking about one aspect of Bilal's life that has nothing to do with religion. They're trying not to connect it to religion. It's more of a social problem that exists in the society. No, it's a religious problem now, because what honored or who honored Bilal was the religion of Islam. Bilal radiallahu anhu arda was freed by Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. So Umar used to say, our master Abu Bakr freed our master Bilal radiallahu anhu arda. Bilal, Rasulullah saw him once, now African American. Remember that, not African American. But just remember, keep that in your mind. Okay, dark skin. Now, who's nobody, and he was a slave. Now the Prophet ﷺ saw him one night. He comes in, say 4:30 to wake up Rasulullah for Fajr. Rasulullah was already awake. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, what happened? You were supposed to wait for me. Like the Prophet ﷺ would sleep 1/6 of the night and then wait for Bilal to wake him up. Now he's awake, fully awake. So Bilal was kind of saying, okay, there must have been something at that night, so what's going on? He said, Ya Bilal, I heard your footstep in paradise tonight. So what led you to enter paradise before me? Now, Bilal is a slave whom Rasulullah is not trying to please because he won't gain anything from him. If he was like a master or somebody who's known in the community, maybe the Prophet will tell him that, he saw that dream just to soften his heart or to maybe gain benefit. But what is he going to gain from Bilal? Zero. So he's telling him, I heard your footstep in paradise. What is it that you're doing that led you to enter paradise before I did? Because I'm still alive and I heard your footstep in paradise. Now, the footstep of Bilal, whom if you told that to the kuffar of Mecca, they'll be like, oh, okay, man, keep him in paradise. They said, we do not, or astaghfirullah, they do not want to enter the paradise because Bilal was entering paradise. That's what some people literally said to the Prophet. They said, they are not going there. They said, they are not going there. So the Prophet, he said nothing except that every time I make wudu, I pray 2 rak'ah. So the Prophet ﷺ said, we do that, but not every time you make wudu. So from now on, every time I make wudu, I'll pray 2 rak'ah. Okay? Now, the life of Bilal continue, where the Prophet ﷺ entered Mecca, returned back to Mecca in the 9th year of migration. Mecca, the most respected place, Al-Kaaba, the most honored house of Allah on earth. We agree? To our time. Now the Prophet ﷺ, adhan time came. He chose who? Bilal to make adhan. And now, where is Bilal going to make adhan? Where? Not on Kaaba, on the top of Al-Kaaba. That's another message right there to everybody. So his feet again, the same feet of that slave, the Abyssinian slave, will be now on the top of the most honored place on earth. That's a clear message to everybody, that everybody is equal now. Okay? Rasulullah did set equality. We are the one who changed it as Muslims. Whether how we look at people, how we pray, even in the same salah. We sometimes stand next to a person and all we're thinking about, where is he from? Look at him. Some people are doing that in salah. And when we line up in salah, we line up next to each other, and the ones who comes first come, first serve. Right? I don't know of any masajid except 3 where they have reserved seats for people. Okay? Reserved. Why? Because these people have to be right there, right behind whatever, right there. We don't have that in any other masajid, alhamdulillah. You come in, you stand next to a person and you say Allahu Akbar, his salah might be accepted and your salah might be dropped. It's how you prayed. Not where you came from, how rich you are, or okay, maybe in salah it's not very clear because now he's wearing, mashallah, a garment and a ghutra, those red Saudi thing, Mahmoud don't like and other people, whatever. Or you're wearing qamis and sirwal, and he's wearing, it might be a little different in how we dress. Now when it comes to Hajj, what happened? We all take off our clothes and we wear same ihram, two-piece, white. And when we die, we end up doing the same thing. Whether he's rich or poor, he's going to end up dying. Then they would wrap him in 3 pieces, white. Same. Maybe this person will buy a coffin that is $100. This person will buy 50. It's still the same color. You're putting the same ground. Okay? Now when the angels come, they're not going to say, well, 2 people are in the grave right now. He's rich, he's poor. Let's ask the rich person first, because you have to give him some dignity, some honor. It doesn't work like that. So Rasulullah said, Ya Bilal, on the top of Al-Kaaba. So he climbed, and some people, I heard the Shaykh was saying, because Bilal was very skinny and then he jumped faster. No, I'm sorry. I don't like that. It's not that. The reason is Rasulullah wanted to send a message to everybody, new Muslims, people of Mecca who thought that they had dignity and honor because of whether they're Arab tribe or Qurayshi tribe or maybe even closer, they took care of the house of Allah. So Rasulullah said, Ya Bilal, get on the top of the Kaaba and make adhan. So he did. The son of his master, Ubay, saw Bilal on the top of the Kaaba. He said, I swear by God, if my father was alive and saw him on the top of the Kaaba, he would die out of a heart attack if he was still alive. Because my father never thought that Bilal would get closer to do tawaf. Because when they did tawaf, the rich people will do tawaf closer to Al-Kaaba. Then how poor you are gets you the white circle. And now the ones with their clothes bought from the Arab, only the Arab will wear clothes. The rest, it's either you borrow clothes or you buy clothes from them, or you make tawaf naked around Kaaba, men and women. Why? Because your clothes is not worthy to make tawaf around Kaaba. That's how they looked at people, even in the best ibadah, in the best performance. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought Bilal to give us that example. That true. Rasulullah said, you are all like the head or the teeth of a comb, okay, in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're all equal. We're all the same, except again the level of religion. He said to his family, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, when he gathered them, he said, please do good, act upon goodness, because I do not want to come in the day of judgment where I see people coming with actions and you're coming with your lineage. He's telling his family. He says, I don't want you guys to meet me in the day of judgment saying, we're from the family of Rasulullah. We're so good. Okay, we don't need to do as much as other people. He says, I do not want people to come in the day of judgment closer to me with their actions. They did salah, siyam, and ibadat and so on. And you're just coming with your lineage. To a point that he told Fatima radiallahu anha, whom he loved the most, radiallahu anha, from his children and from all of my, Fatima was number 1. He told her, he said, Ya Fatima, i'mali, do good, because I will not benefit you in the day of judgment. It's your actions that gets you to the acceptance, admission. Now, which field are you gonna go? This is your choice now. So admission to Jannah is by your actions. How good you were in dunya, how religious. Now, your level in Jannah, your actions will come in now, the intercession of the Prophet ﷺ. But he told his own daughter that. When Usama radiallahu anhu came, and there was a woman who stole, okay, she stole something, so they caught her, and the Islamic ruling, because she came to the Prophet ﷺ, this is Islamically a ruling judge, and he has conditions and rules, that they cut their hand. So because she was from a rich family, well known, so they sent people to the Prophet, but no one was able to talk to the Prophet. So they chose Usama radiallahu anhu. Usama is the most beloved to the Prophet ﷺ after his father, Zayd, who was called Zayd, the son of Muhammad. So Usama went, he said, Ya Rasulullah, can I intercede for her? She's from a rich family and it wouldn't look good for her to, so can we pay money? Can we do this? The Prophet ﷺ got very angry. He said, you're interceding in one of the judgment and the punishment of Allah because she's rich. Wallahi, if Fatima, now, the wording that he used are very precise, because Rasulullah didn't just speak out of nowhere. No, he said, Wallahi, if Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad, would to steal, I will cut her hand. Now, he said Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad, because if he said the daughter of the Prophet, some people say Allah will send mercy and the Prophet. No, he said the daughter of Muhammad. Now, she's just a human being. If she commits wrong, she's like everybody else. Not because she's from this family or this tribe or that. That's the base that Rasulullah ﷺ built. That's the community that the Prophet ﷺ built. If we really dissolve that in our heart, okay? Whether we say it with our tongue, oh man, there's no racism, we're all brothers and sisters, but reality is, there is. It does exist. Back to Bilal radiallahu anhu arda. Bilal had a fight or an argument with one of the companions, Abu Dharr, maybe Abu Dharr, in some narration. So Abu Dharr got very angry at him. He said, Ya Bilal, he said, like, be quiet. Yabna Sauda, you're like the son of a black woman or a black slave. Okay? Like using the N-word now. Same thing. So he called Bilal that. Bilal got very upset. He went to the Prophet ﷺ. Now this is the brotherhood and racism now versus one another. And just pay attention to the story and look how each side are looking at the story now. Bilal came to Rasulullah complaining from what Abu Dharr said. So the Prophet ﷺ brought Abu Dharr and he was very angry. قال أناديته بابن السوداء. Did he call him the son of a black mother or the son of a black slave? Or he said yes, and it was a mistake. Out of anger, I couldn't control myself. Okay, so I just said it. So the Prophet ﷺ said, أعصبية وأنا بينكم. Racism still exists while I'm still alive? This will make sense if I die, then things will change. Imagine if he saw 2018. He's talking about Sahaba now. He said, it still exists among you? This is like the pre-era of Islam, the Jahiliyyah, the time of ignorance. Time before Islam, it was known to be the era of ignorance. So he said, this is like one of the characteristics of the time of ignorance. And you still have that in your heart, Abu Dharr. Leave it alone. You should not consider it. It should not be in your heart. Not that you just say, I deny, I don't like racism, I am not. No, it's in the heart. So what happened? He said, Ya Abu Dharr, you put your face on the ground. Okay? You put your side, your cheek on the ground. And Ya Bilal, you step with your feet on his other side. Imagine that picture right there. So Abu Dharr went down on the ground. His face was on the ground, waiting for Bilal. If it was one of us, sorry, including me, we would say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Squeeze the face. Rasulullah is telling me, it's the Prophet now, this is not your teacher, it's Rasulullah's command. Abu Dharr is down there, okay? Bilal want to take revenge. Nothing is wrong. He has all the rights. Rasulullah gave him permission. So he taught a lesson to Abu Dharr now, okay? You saw how the humiliation that you're going through now is the same of what you said. When you humiliated someone like that, this is what you get. This is only in dunya. In the day of judgment, it's either good deeds or sins. He'll take from your good deeds, and if you don't have enough, you will take from his sins. That's the problem. In dunya, we could solve our issues with one another. We could be like, sorry, I did this, forgive me. But in akhirah, it's too late. In the hereafter, it's too late. It's only your good deeds or his sins. Done. So Abu Dharr went down to the ground. What did Bilal do? That's the brotherhood part that Rasulullah raised in their hearts. That's why the Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim, they learned nothing in 13 years except Iman, faith, and how to be strong in Iman and the brotherhood. That 13 years before they did anything else. Before Salah was made obligatory, they were learning lessons on how to get along with one another. Okay? How can Mus'ab, the richest kid of Mecca, who buys perfume from Yemen and India, and they bring it to him, who dresses every day a different clothes, every single day. If he puts on one garment, he would not put it on again. That's how rich he was. How could he sit with someone who cannot find food to eat for the day? How is that possible? That's what they were learning. That's why when it came that they sacrificed everything for Allah, it was very easy for them because they were taught 13 years. Today we don't have that. I wish that Muslims today could just go back and say Bismillah. We're at the time of what right now? I consider time of ignorance before Islam. This is not even time of Islam. If we could go back and say Bismillah, this is year 1 of Islam, and then we start, wallahi, maybe in 13, 14 years, 15 years, we'll become the Muslim ummah that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam developed among Sahaba. So Bilal went down, he cried, he kissed Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu on his forehead, and he hugged him and he picked him up, and then he cleaned his face, and he said, غَفَرَ اللَّهُ لِي وَلَكَ يَا أَبَا ذَرْ. May Allah forgive you and me, Abu Dharr. That's it. He didn't say, okay, just get up and I'll forgive you this time. He didn't do it this way. Now Rasulullah ﷺ said, إِخْوَانُكُمْ خَوَلُكُمْ فَمَنْ كَانَ لَهُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ شَيْئًا فَلْيُطْعِمْهُ مِمَّا يَطْعَمُ وَلْيُسْقِهِ مِمَّا يَسْقِي أَوْ يَشْرَبْ. He said, your brothers or your servants, if you consider them, or you have servants or slaves at that time, of course that's gone, that's done. He said, they are like your brothers, meaning you eat from the same food that they eat, or you feed them from the same food that you feed your family and yourself, and you dress them from the same clothes that you wear, and you give them from the same ride. The narrator of hadith says that Abu Dharr was never seen after this incident different from his servants or his slaves. You cannot tell, like if you see both of them riding, they both have Mercedes or BMW. If he buys himself Nissan 2017, he'll buy him same. That's how Abu Dharr were. Because Rasulullah ﷺ told him that you are the same now, even though he's working for you, you're paying him, but other than that, you eat from the same food. And he said, the one who frees a slave, Allah will free his neck from paradise. And he says, the one who feeds him from the same food, dress him from the same clothes, Allah will free him and feed him in paradise. All of this is encouragement to do what? For slavery? All of this is encouragement to free slaves at that time, which slavery did exist. There's nothing, Islam didn't bring slavery, it was there. Islam tried to do what? To free it as much as possible and gave so much reward for that. Now, Bilal radiallahu anhu, again, I'm just going with Bilal to show you that the lifestyle of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bilal, after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and death of Abu Bakr, Umar chose him to be one of his governors, okay, or one of his, what would you call? Umar had a congress, not the congress you see today, okay. Umar's congress, that's a special. He chose certain people who were the people or who fought during the battle of Badr with the Prophet ﷺ only. So among these people, now look at this movie scene now. At the house of Umar, there were no servants, no guards. And so if you wanted to meet the Khalifa of the Muslim, who's like a president of the country today, for you to meet a president of the country today, is it possible or impossible? I don't know. Try. Okay. No, don't try. Just go to his house, okay? Show up there, knock on the door and say, hey, I want to go in, see what happens. If you don't get arrested, if you don't get shot, okay? In America, you won't get shot. You most likely will get arrested. In our countries, you'll get shot while you're crossing, or astaghfirullah, while you're thinking to cross by his street where he lives, okay? Some of our countries, okay? Seriously, there is not bodyguards. You won't be able to tell where his house is. Like his house is in with the house complex and a house like that. So it's like a puzzle to get to it. Sometimes he gets lost himself. Anyway, but Umar's life was not like that. Umar had Aslam who sits by his house in case Umar is busy with someone. Then Aslam would kind of direct the flow. Okay, tell him, wait here, do that, do this. So now Bilal came, Suhaib al-Rumi, okay, Salman al-Farisi from Persia. So Suhaib is, Bilal is from Abyssinia, Salman, Romanian or that area now of our time. Suhaib, Salman al-Farisi, Persia, and then one more person with them. Ammar ibn Yasir. Ammar ibn Yasir. Khalas, these 4 people. Ammar is from a very poor tribe in Mecca. So nobody. These people are nobody right now. On the other side, you have Abu Sufyan, who was the head leader of Quraysh, after he became Muslim, of course. He became Muslim at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abu Sufyan, you have Suhail ibn Amr, who was the ambassador of Quraysh and who made the treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam while he was a disbeliever, and he sent back Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from making Umrah. He stopped him from coming to Umrah. So he was an ambassador. You have Hakim ibn Hizam. He was related to Khadija radiallahu anha ardaha, and he was one of the richest Sahaba, and he owned the house where the kuffar used to meet and plan and plan their plans and make their arrangement and so on. Baytun Nadwa fi Quraysh. And one more person. One more person. Just can't remember the 4th person now right now. Anyway, so these are the head leaders. These are nobody. These groups came to the house of Umar radiallahu anhu, and Umar is the Khalifa now. So he told Aslam, who's waiting at the door. Aslam said, Abu Sufyan. Now he started with the, now honor. Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu arda, Hakim ibn Hizam radiallahu anhu, they're all Muslims now. Suhail ibn Amr and that person. So Umar said, طيب, anybody else? He said, yeah. Okay, Bilal, Salman, وصهيب وعمار. فقال عمر رضي الله عنه وارضاه, let Suhaib, Bilal, Ammar and Salman in. Aslam said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, did you hear what I said? He said, what did you say, Ya Aslam? He said, I'm telling you, Abu Sufyan and Suhail and so on, and these people are also waiting. He said, yeah, I heard what you said. So let Bilal and Ammar. He said, you want me to let them in first? He knows, Aslam knows this is going to create a problem. Okay? So he said, let them. So he came out, he called these 4, come inside. So they went inside, no problem now. Okay? Suhail ibn Amr was sitting down. Abu Sufyan, the other person, got kind of angry. He said, how could Umar do that? This is like humiliation. We are the leaders of Quraysh. We are the head leaders. We were this, we were that, we were. So they're talking about who they were. And now Umar will do that to us? This is humiliation. You know what? Well, Suhail was very wise. He was an ambassador. That's why they chose him. He said, guys, what are you arguing about? These people, they were called to Islam before you, and they answered by saying yes. And you were delayed in your answer. So they get to enter first. Makes sense. Like Rasulullah called everybody to Islam. He called you, he called them. Who said yes? Who became Muslim? Them. They became Muslim, they fought with the Prophet ﷺ, they sacrificed their life and their money for Rasulullah ﷺ. You came later in the 9th year, 10th year of migration. You did come, no problem. We became Muslim, alhamdulillah, but we didn't come first. They came first. So they deserve to enter first. But then he told them something which I want you to take home today. And this really will solve the issue of racism. He said, you know what I'm worried about? That they will be called to enter Jannah and paradise before us. That's what worries me right now. I'm not worried about going into Umar's house first or last. He said, Wallahi, I am worried that in paradise they will be called. That's why a lot of people today, you should say that, they might be called to paradise before me. Nobody knows. They looked at them like that. And so Umar radiallahu anhu ardah taught them a great lesson. And later on he told Abu Sufyan, he said, Ya Abu Sufyan, you look angry. Abu Sufyan was still angry. And Umar said, why you look angry? Because they let them in first? He said, yeah. He said, yeah, Abu Sufyan, try your best to compete with them to see who gets to Jannah first. Still a competition still there. You just have to work hard, but most likely they'll be there first because they did everything. That's the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the life of the Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim. That's the statements of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who says that the person who looks at a person as lower or less or not better than, or he thinks that he's better than this person, then this person has a dot of arrogance in his heart. And no one will enter paradise with arrogance in his heart. Racism is a form of arrogance. Because look at Rasulullah's life. Usama would ride after him in the back of a camel. And Usama was also a slave, okay, African, okay, dark skin. Today, look at our time. A president would not let anybody ride with him in his car. One of the leaders went on a business trip. You guys know that, okay? Just don't want to say who. Later, I'll tell you who later. I know Mahmoud wants to know who that person is. A ruler, okay? He went on a business trip. I don't remember, was it 8 million or 80 million they spent? Some crazy amount of money. Just the amount of cars that was riding in front and behind him is enough to feed a nation from our brothers and sisters who are living in hunger today. Syria camps, Iraqi camps, Abyssinia, Habasha till today, Somalia now they can't find food. You see how Yemen, the money that was spent in this business trip, just this business trip. Plus, why is that? Because they have to ride in one car and then everybody else. Even if their own children, they have to ride in a different car. But that's not the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine Rasulullah, the head leader of the Muslims, entering Medina in front of people who just came out of the idea of racism and they believed it. It was part of their life. Seeing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Usama, the black slave, riding behind him. You know, actions are 100 times, 1,000,000 times stronger than statements. Seriously. You could be the best speaker on earth. You could be saying stuff and writing stuff on Google, and when it comes February, it's the what is it called? What's February called? The month of? Yeah, Black History Month, and then we're seeing all these pictures and all this, and people changing their Facebook profile picture and all that. But in reality, it's still, at least among Muslims. I'm not talking about other. I'm worried about Muslims right now. Because our Islam clearly forbids that. It's not an idea that is dislike. I'm done. وَسُبْحَانَكَ اللَّهُمَّ وَبِحَمْدِكَ. No, I'm really done. خلاص. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our heart and purify our heart and bring our hearts together. Wallahi, brothers and sisters, this is very important. You know, whether we speak about it, whether we give classes about it, if we don't put this into actions, into practice. I was in a meeting and one of the imams told me at the same time, this is not an issue to speak about every day, like this is the only Muslim issue that we have, and Islam is, and racism is a big, no. It is a defect, it is a disease, but then we could solve it, but we don't need to talk about it every meeting that we have. We don't make the problem bigger than it is. This imam told me, he said, like he was talking about this part, and I told him, subhanAllah, we're all Muslims. I don't have a problem with an African American imam or an Indian imam or a Pakistani imam or a Chinese imam. I don't have a problem. So he said, so you'll be willing to let me give a khutbah at your masjid? I say, next week. He's like, okay, let me check my schedule. I'm like, Wallah, next week. You want to come give a khutbah at our masjid? The masjid is completely open. You want to come and lead salah? Masjid is open. Why not? He's like, I don't think a lot of people would do that. I'm like, I don't care about other people right now. Don't judge me what other people are going to do. You asked me a question, I answered. You're going to give a khutbah? He said, yes. Next. But luckily, he got fired by the masjid that he were in, so he moved from our area. He couldn't make it. I wish that he could have come because he was actually carrying a gun in the khutbah. So I don't want him to come to Davis for that reason. And he raised it, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and guide everybody, inshallah. But this is the problem. We do not want to bring someone who make this seem as this is a Muslim issue. Like I heard brothers and sisters when we were in a conference talking about it as like we're not welcomed in any masjid. We see how when we go everywhere, when we do this, so we ended up getting our own masajid. That's a problem, because you are part of the problem. You have that feeling in you. It might not be there, but then you're holding that feeling inside. That's how people are looking at you. Then you start judging everybody by how you feel, not how people feel. So when I tell you something, you should believe what I'm saying. But you believe yourself. Completely, they believe what they. So it's half on these people, who are creating the problem, who are making it seem like a problem, this is not a solution to divide the ummah. Wallahi, this is not a solution to have. I would love for the United States to have 1 million masjid, but 1 million masjid connected, not 1 million masjid where everybody prays by themselves, they have their own whatever they believe, they are divided. No, we want to have one masjid connected better than 1 million masjid that are disconnected or has differences in among the ummah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our hearts and bring us together inshallah, and make us among people who hear the words and benefit from them and apply them and implement them in their life inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for anything that we have said that will displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or will make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be angry with us in dunya or akhirah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for our shortcoming and bring this ummah together inshallah on the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I'll leave it to questions inshallah if there is any. Alhamdulillah, I hope yes.
Oh, I have a question regarding your story with Abu Sufyan. I said that correctly. You said that he said that he was worried that in paradise they, regarding to Bilal, will enter paradise first. My question is, does it matter who enters paradise first when, inshallah, eventually you get there too?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because you're being held, that means you have a lot to be asked for. So the closer you get, okay, you're going in first. That means you're going into higher level, okay? You have less to be asked for. Less sins, less punishment, and there are people who go into paradise without a question or an answer. So when you say you're eventually getting there, that's not what we should be competing with one another for. We should be competing with one another who gets there first. Why? Because if a person is delayed, they might be delayed because of their sins. They might be delayed because of their mistakes. They might be delayed because of their actions. And then when they enter paradise and they found that people have taken their spots and their places and their paradise levels, and then they have less. That's not the jealousy that, because there's no jealousy in Jannah, but this is a form of jealousy that is, we call it ghibta, is to like what the other person have or to wish to have it like him, or to wish that you could have what he have. You know, the difference between that and jealousy is what? Jealousy is to love what the person has and to wish that it could be taken from him. That's jealousy right there. You're jealous, you're like, why does he have that? So what do you want? You want to have it? Yeah, but I don't want him to have it. That's jealousy. So in Jannah you would wish for that. So it does matter. And the Prophet ﷺ says that the poor people of my ummah will enter paradise 500 years, 500 sana, 500 years before the rich, or 500,000 before the rich. I'm not sure. Is it 500 or 500,000? So that's not a call to become poor. Okay, you need to get a better job, good money, because the Prophet didn't say every poor person will enter before every rich person. Okay, he says in general, the poor will enter before the rich 500 years. Not every poor, because there might be rich people like Abu Bakr, richest among the companion. He's the first to enter Jannah. Uthman, first to enter Jannah. And they were rich. So he says in general. And our Shaykh used to describe that, just not to make any confusion. I don't want anybody leaving today saying that the Shaykh is calling to poverty. That's not what I'm calling to. Our Shaykh described it this way. If you're traveling, where are you from originally? Here. So you're not going anywhere, huh? Any of you travels overseas?
Well, I'm going to Japan next.
Allahu Akbar. So when you're going to Japan now. Your luggage, if you have one handbag, just carry-on bag, okay? How fast does it get you to go through security if you don't have the 4 S's like me? And all the complications. Look at it. When you're checking at the counter right now and you have one carry-on bag, and then you find a family who has 20 bags going back. I don't know why Muslims do that when they travel. They take the same clothes, they return them back. Okay? You're traveling with 25 bags. I've seen that in the airport. Who gets through security first? Who finishes first? You or him or them? Right? You'll go in quickly. Makes sense. Why? Because you're carrying less. That's why the poor people will enter Jannah before the rich in general, because they are carrying less. Allah will say, how much you had? 500, that's all you had in your life? Yeah. Where did you get it from? I work for this. How did you spend it? I spent it on that. Done. Now, bring a person with $1 million. Okay, 1 second, man. $1 million. How did you get it? Oh, I got 1,000 from here, 2,000. So it takes time. That's the reason, not that they're better. You see, so don't get confused about that. But it does matter, because the followers of the companion says, we are going to compete who gets into paradise with the Prophet first. We're not going to let the companions take him in dunya and after his death. Like they took him, they got the chance to live with him. So they used to say, we're going to compete with them to be with the Rasulullah before them in paradise. That's the competition. Why? To get your spot, your level. So yes, I know eventually, inshallah, we'll go to Jannah. May Allah make us among Jannah, people of Jannah, say Ameen. But when you make dua, you should say, oh Allah, grant me paradise without a question or a punishment. That should be your supplication. Don't say, inshallah, I'll be punished a little bit, then go to Jannah. Because this hadith is very scary. The Prophet says, the richest man who has the most enjoyable life, and he's among the people of hellfire, he will be dipped in hellfire, like you dip the ships in the salsa that you guys have now, you know? A dip. Literally a dip. Seriously, that's the literal wording of the hadith. This person who had everything, the enjoyment of life, he had all cars, all houses, bank accounts, whatever, but he's going to hellfire. He will only be dipped once, out in hellfire, just to get a taste. Look how fast that takes. And then he will be asked, have you had any enjoyment in your life that you remember? He will say, I have never had a good day in my life that I remember. That's somebody who enjoyed life from beginning to end. Now, the Prophet says, a person who was like the poorest among the people, but he's going to paradise. He was poor, he had no living, no house, no money, no food, nothing. He strived, he went through hunger, his children couldn't find food, clothes, whatever. He will be taken, he will be dipped in paradise once. Allah will tell him, have you had any hardship in your life that you remember? He will say, I don't remember any hardship that I went through ever. When was that? He didn't enter paradise yet. He was just getting the sweetness of a dip. So imagine when he goes in, what is he going to get? So the matter is not easy. You're going to hellfire for saying, I'm going to go serve for 20, 30 years. Then inshallah I'll go to Jannah. 20, 30 years is a lot. 20, 30 years, a person will not be able to take the coals from hellfire, that if you put it under somebody's feet, his head will be boiling. That's the least punishment in hellfire. You stand on a rock from hellfire, a piece, not you stand, astaghfirullah, not you. A person stands on the rock, he will put his feet on it, it will burn his body till it gets, the temperature will be so high that it will get to his head, his brain will be boiling. That's the least punishment of hellfire. So don't tell me I want to do a serving of 5 years, 6 years. I'm telling you this is a second or two of a person like that. So that's why we ask Allah always in our supplication. I ask you, O Allah, to grant me paradise without a question or a punishment. Because a question by Allah is a punishment. Just being questioned. So people who get to Jannah without a question, I want to be like them. I don't want to wait till the end. Yeah. Wallahu a'lam. Anything related to our topic now, racism? Yeah.
I think it's like a very situation that happens.
Uh-huh.
You could say like this uncle, say they're not racist or something like that, but when it comes to a matter like, for example, marriage, there's an African brother, an Arab sister, a Pakistani brother, whatever, and the only thing holding them apart would be the color of their skin. Parents say something like, if you marry them, your children will come out dark, they're going to have difficulty getting married and stuff like that. What would be your response? I mean, you mentioned Bilal radiallahu anhu and all these stories. Are there examples or things we can derive from, or any words of wisdom you have on this?
Well, I went with somebody to ask for somebody's hand for this brother, and the brother said that his daughter is his daughter was a U.S. citizen, so her mahr is $100,000. He has another daughter, she was green card holder. That's a little bit less than 100,000. He was doing it like that, seriously. And then after that, the brother told me, if I have 100,000, I wouldn't get married. Why would I get married if I have $100,000? I could live my life in Las Vegas and have fun. But so we went to the brother, and he told me. He told me that because of the family was from she was Yemeni or Yemen, and the brother was from Palestine, so they're still close in race, a little bit close. And he told me, he said, Sheikh, that would be impossible for him to marry my daughter. I said, okay, maybe if you're from a Hanafi perspective, I could understand like that. Imam Hanifa sets rules for marriage that they have to be from the same tribe, speak same language, so it won't cause problems. And I understand if this is where you're coming from, okay? They're not coming from that. So he told me, he said, even if he's from Yemen, he's from our village, same tribe, if his work, if his job is less than so and so and so and so, we won't let him marry from our... So even if he's a millionaire, okay? So barbers, butchers, jobs like that, he might be a millionaire, but we can't let him marry our daughter. That's not acceptable. So I said to him, subhanAllah, but this brother, mashallah, he holds a good job and all that. This is not a skin thing now. This is even the level, the status level. So I told him, I said, okay, what if he was a janitor? The guy just laughed and he said, I told you, if he was like a millionaire and he works a job that nobody would work, we wouldn't accept. Now you tell me if he's a janitor? I say, yeah. If they tell you he cleans, he's hired at Islamic Center of Davis, let's just take an example, I told him the masjid, and he cleans the masjid bathroom. And he comes to you and says, I want to marry your daughter. He says, no problem, I'll kick you and him out. I said, okay, I had nothing to do with that. I just came to help, man. Seriously, that's what he said. I said, okay, man. There's a woman at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. That was my response to him. I said, there was a woman at the time of Rasulullah ﷺ. She used to pick up the rocks and clean the masjid after the end of the day. She'd go to the masjid. She's very poor. She cleans the masjid, okay? Pick up the rocks, little rocks. Now, no vacuum, none of that, with her hands. And then that's what she did. The Prophet ﷺ missed her a day, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He doesn't see her no more. So he asked, what happened to the women who used to clean the masjid? قالوا ماتت يا رسول الله. She died. The Prophet ﷺ says, هلا أعلمتموني. Why you didn't tell me? They said, Ya Rasulullah, we didn't want to bother you. She's nobody. We're going to go and wake up Rasulullah to we did the ghusl, we washed her, we did the janaza, we buried her, alhamdulillah, we took care of it. We didn't want you to do it. Not that they didn't want Rasulullah to do it. They thought that's the guy who's asking for marriage now. He's nobody, okay? What did the Prophet do? The Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Aba Bakr, let's go. And he went to her grave. They pointed her grave out. He went, he did Salatul Janaza on her grave, and he cried, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he said, Wallahi, I see her now picking rocks made from misk, the smell of perfume, and made from gold and silver. She's picking them in Jannah, enjoying her paradise, her own paradise, for cleaning the masjid. Now, this is not any woman right now. This is not a rich woman or a woman who is related to Rasulullah. This is nobody. Astaghfirullah. That's what people think. That's nobody. So the Prophet ﷺ going to pray janazah on her again, which they already did, and so he doesn't have to do it. Rasulullah, yes. Going to the grave, yes. To pray, yes. Why? Because of the status that she holds in the sight of Allah. Now he sees her place in Jannah. So I told him, if a janitor comes to you who cleans the masjid, you'll say no after this? He's like, well, think about it, inshallah. It didn't work out, of course, because of that. There's so many cases that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it might not work out if that's the reason. Zayd and Safiya got married. It didn't work out because of their status, their level. So they ended up divorcing. That's what Abu Hanifa took, that they have to be equal in race, they have to be equal in language, they have to be from the same tribe, they have to be from same city, even same family, to that close. And if this is the religious-wise, we could understand. Just because the brother has a different skin, or if they're able to communicate, they have a background, they're okay with one another, they have the approval, then why not? Why would we stop? Rasulullah said, if a person comes to you with their religion, like he's religious, you should accept him for your daughter, or else you're creating a fitna. Now, A lot of young people can't get married. Why? Because he has to be married from the same, okay, our tribe are gone, finished. No more sisters in the tribe. We have to wait for somebody to be born and I wait for her 20. What's going on with you guys? Okay? This is a problem. The elder people, unfortunately, they need a lot of... I blame 50% on the ulama and the scholars or the imam who are being giving these people khutab for 40, 50, 30 years who have never mentioned a topic like that. When I go to a community, I was in a community where that was happening. They were asking for crazy amount of money, okay? That the person has to work. By the time he collects the money that they're asking for, he will be 40 years old. I talked about this and people got upset. How you should not have an expensive mahr or dowry to pay. Rasulullah sallam, he gave Ali to Fatima for what? A ring and a sijjada to sleep on and a pillow and a cover, a bed cover. That was Fatima, the master, the leader of women in paradise. That was her furniture. Okay? Again, I'm not saying any of the sisters don't. I'm asking you to ask for 10,000 for your mahr. I'm telling you that. Do that. Okay? You know, claim all your rights. Write them in your contract. I'm not asking you to be like Fatima. I don't want you to be like Fatima. Because they're not Ali. Okay? That's the whole story. Seriously. But it has to be reasonable. Okay? You know, a sister in Egypt, she wanted to do what... she heard this story from a sheikh, so she went to her... a guy came to ask for her, and this guy has nothing, okay? He gets $100 a month Egyptian money. So she told him, you know what, I accept you. She's from a rich family. She has like servants at the house. She has people clean up her house every day. She has her own room, bathroom. So she told him, you know, I want to marry you like Ali married Fatima. Her father was like, you're crazy. Oh, Ali married Fatima. So she said, what do we want? No problem. Just bring a sijjada or a carpet or something, a pillow, and like what they did. Okay, the guy, he bought a house, 2-bedroom, bathroom and a kitchen. That's all he could afford. She was so happy. She came, her bags, her clothes was put in plastic garbage bags. Like Fatima now, mashallah. She has a lot of clothes, of course. So she put them in, okay, no closet, nothing. Now, after 1 month, her friends came over to visit. When her friends are, they know her level. And they're like, what are you doing? I said, okay, after a month, 2, 3, now her sleeping on the ground kind of hurt because she's not used to it. So she told him now, can we upgrade from Ali's level now to maybe Rasulullah's level with a bed now? Like, can we get a bed? And the guy said, of course, I'll get you a bed. So he went, he bought a bed. Okay, now she want to put her clothes into a closet or something. So can you buy me? You know? Now, after a few months, she said, okay, you either get me a house, a full house, 4 rooms, bedrooms, 2 or 3 bathrooms, somebody to come and clean the house. I'm not going to clean the house every day for you. And somebody that cleans the house, somebody that does the food for us, somebody that... Or you could live your Ali life now by yourself, inshallah, and I'll see you. She went to her father's house. As soon as the sheikh came, the sheikh says, the only thing is divorce right now. It doesn't work like that. There is no... If you think you could do it while you have a special status or a living wise, then you can't. But they need somebody to talk to them. That's what they need. And if you go and somebody tell you that this is a case, I think someone should go and talk to the family and try to remind them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because now our sisters are getting old, they're getting not you guys, not you. I'm saying sisters in general. In Muslim countries, the percentages are very high right now, either because the dowry is very high, or as we say, they're waiting for the right person. And the right person to them is not the characteristic of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has defined, is what they think. The person has to be this or that or this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy, inshallah, for you guys to get married. And for the ones who are married, may Allah make it easy for you to hold on to one marriage. Why are you laughing, man? I'm a muwahhid. It's only one time. You only make that mistake once. Subhanallah. No, I mean, la astaghfirullah. Not what? You're still clapping for the mistake? It's not a mistake. It's the best mistake in life. It's a prison that you don't run out of it except to Jannah, inshallah. And when you go to Jannah, you'll find her there and she'll find you there. So, خلاص. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت. بارك الله فيك.